I always wanted to do one of these Game of Thrones reviews. And I always wanted to do them with someone, but I never could find someone that will put the time in and analyze a Game of Thrones video with me and stuff like that. So I just decided I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to take a look back at season 7 and review it. I hope you guys enjoy. So we open up the season with Walder Frey talking to his house. And I was like, what is going on here? Didn't Arya already like destroy him? But when he gave the girl passing out the drinks this crazy look, I was like, oh, that's definitely Arya.
You didn't slaughter every one of the Stark.
This was honestly an awesome opening scene. And you can tell an opening scene is great when you can rewatch it and still get those chills like, oh my goodness, this was such a good opening scene to Game of Thrones. That's when I knew it was on. Like season 7, it was a lot of stuff. We're gonna get into that was like very unrealistic, but I knew it was gonna be on when this happened.
Tell them winter came for House Frey.
But you knew this was going to happen. It just brought me back to reality. Like, all right, the White Walkers, they're coming. And I'm looking in the crowd. I'm like, okay, they got the giants. They got some of the they got a whole bunch of the wildlings. But I'm looking for Hodor. That's who I was looking for. I'm like, please don't let Hodor be in there. Please don't let Hodor be in there. Because imagine how Hodor would have been if he was one of the whites, which he probably is, but they didn't show him here. That was a good thing. And right after that, you know, Brandon Stark and Mira Reed shows up at the gates of Castle Black. And of course, they're not going to believe that's really Brandon Stark. They're like, you're just wildlings. You know, you're just trying to come and breach the gate. You're trying to come and kill us. But, of course, Brandon.
You were at hard home.
To be honest, I don't really like this Brandon Stark. Although he's not technically Brandon Stark anymore. He's the three-eyed raven. But I don't like his character anymore. I don't like this character, this bland, you know, no expression on his face character. And in the books, he's still a young guy. He's fucking like 6'7", so he's like dragging around LeBron James or something right now. But it's still a solid character. The next scene, my boy Jon Snow is talking to his family, basically. His house and basically all of the North is there. And his sister Sansa and many others are basically trying to tell him to get rid of the Umbers and the Karstarks. Like, burn their castles down or give them to somebody else because they betrayed the Starks. And Jon Snow is basically Ned Stark 2.0. He sticks to his word, and he is a very honorable man. So he's going to give them back their homes. This isn't one of those groundbreaking scenes, but I really think that Jon Snow really made the right decision, because kids will remember stuff like this for the rest of their lives. Like, they're now the leaders of their houses. So they will remember when someone comes and say, hey, betrayed the Starks 100 years from now. And this will be written in the books that Jon Snow or Jon Stark or Aegon Targaryen, whatever you guys want to call him, they're going to remember this, that Aegon Targaryen Stark was a very honorable man. And if we betray him, it will look bad, and the North always remembers. Look at the relief on their faces right there. And remember when I was saying like some of the stuff is just not realistic? Like, I know this is a fantasy show, but like this is just ridiculous. Like Euron Greyjoy comes up, and the ships look awesome, you know. But how did they build all of these ships when Theon and Yara like literally took all of the ships and escaped, and they built these in like 2 days or something? Like, I just need to know.
They stole my best ships and ran.
Yeah, they stole your best ships and ran, and then you made 10,000 other ships. But remember I told you guys that I'm not that big on the books. And I was like reading the audiobook, not reading, but I was listening to the audiobook, and the Euron Greyjoy that they showed me in the audiobook from compared to this Euron Greyjoy is just night and day. Like the other Euron Greyjoy is much better than this one. But the personality of this Euron Greyjoy is awesome. I really like this Euron Greyjoy's personality.
So here I am, with 1,000 ships and 2 good hands.
So skip past a couple of scenes, and we got Brienne of Tarth, and I always call him Gendry, but he's Podrick, his squire, teaching him how to fight. And look in the background. Look closely in the background who's walking up. If you don't like Tormund Giantsbane, if he's not one of your favorite characters in Game of Thrones, I really know you don't have a sense of humor. Like, this guy is awesome. Like, even when he was a bad guy, I'm doing the quote fingers, he was just like awesome. And here we go, Littlefinger getting in Sansa's ear. It just was annoying. Like, Littlefinger and Sansa, for some reason, just was like, it just was so cringy this season. I just did not enjoy their scenes. But you had to pay attention, because you know the Game of Thrones is winding down, and you got to pay attention to every conversation. You have to pay attention to everything that's going on in Game of Thrones. That's why the show is so good. The writing and the actors are good also, but you just got to pay attention to everything.
I know exactly what he wants.
He wants that pussy. That's what the fuck he want. But when she said that, that's when I was like, maybe Sansa's really onto something for fucking once. So the next scene is Arya, and I think she's going to King's Landing right now, and then she runs into some Lannister soldiers, and I was like, oh shit, she is about to kill some Lannister soldiers. Let's go. And then she hops down, she starts talking to them. They're cool, they're funny, they're laughing. They give her some food, and she's like, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, damn, they're just young boys. They're just regular guys, you know? They're fighting someone else's war. So she didn't kill anybody there, but this was a pretty cool scene. Kind of like real life. Like, soldiers are just fighting someone else's war. It is some asshole soldiers who just want to kill people and rape people in real life in this world, but you know, for the most part, you can't really blame the soldiers. They're just fighting someone else's war, basically. Oh, finally a scene with Sam in it that means something. These scenes at the Citadel just was so boring to me. This is when I went to the bathroom. This is when I, like yawned. This is when I looked at my phone on Instagram. Like, these scenes were so boring to me. It was like the High Sparrow. I did not like those scenes, and I did not like these scenes, but he finally discovered something, read something that can help with the war against the dead. And right here coming up, he discovers, or one guy reaches out and it happened to be Jorah Mormont. Jorah Mormont scared the shit out of Sam. I kind of like, I had to I think I had to rewind this part, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? But that's basically Jorah Mormont with the grayscale, and I guess they wanted Sam to do something, because Jorah Mormont getting grayscale and then getting it cured and then coming back to Daenerys, I didn't really see the point of it. Like, he's the same guy. It's not like he's a little weaker or he's immune to grayscale now, or, you know, like what's the point of giving him grayscale if he's just the same guy? He's not weaker. His arm isn't bad, but I guess they just wanted Sam to build up his resume. The first guy to kill a Thenn, the first guy to kill a White Walker and a Thenn in the same week, and he cured grayscale. Like, his book is his resume. It's building his resume, and he discovered the dragon glass, so Jon Snow, you know, so I guess that's what they were doing right here. Get that fried chicken arm out my damn face. Like, so Daenerys and her fleet of the Unsullied, of the what are those guys called again? The Dothraki and Varys, and look, she got the whole squad with her. Missandei fine ass with her too. But they're pulling up to Dragonstone, man. You know, this was a very big part of the this was a very important scene. Like, not important scene, but her reaching back to Dragonstone is a big thing. And look at her. She's like, home sweet home. Although I don't think she would remember. But she's pulling up to home, Dragonstone. She got her 3 dragons. The only thing that I was looking at, I'm like, why is it does it really have to be like really like this clean? It's no crashed airplane debris or nothing on the island. I know it wasn't airplanes out back then, but like look how clean it is. Oh shit, and then the door opens and then 100 soldiers runs out this door, and then the mountain chops Daenerys' head off. Like, why would they have her on the front lines right here? Like, don't you send like 80 soldiers in at least, like, to scout the area out and then let her enter? So this is basically the end of the episode. I have to be like 100% serious. I am real excited. I was real excited for season 7, and I'm definitely excited for season 8. But you can tell that the show is a little off. Like, the show is suffering just a tad bit. Not even a tad bit. Like, Tyrion Lannister wasn't even Tyrion Lannister since like season 5 or something like that. And the show has been suffering without George R.R. Martin. Like, and I noticed it. And I'm like, why is the show's getting kind of watered down? This is only episode 1. So we'll talk about that a little more in the future episodes of revisiting Game of Thrones season 7. And I hope y'all enjoyed this. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. It was a solid episode. No action, but solid.
Shall we begin?
So if you guys like videos like this, don't forget to like it, of course, and leave a comment, because I know it's a lot of Game of Thrones fans. I wish my viewers really liked Game of Thrones, man. I know I'm cramming it down you guys' throats, pause, but I love this show. Like, I'm such a nerd when it comes to Game of Thrones. Not the books, but the actual show. I'm such a nerd. I know the books are better because I was listening to the audiobooks, and it just was like the storytelling was just a little better. It's more to digest, but it just was a little better. But don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, And I have episode 2 up soon as I can. Thanks, guys. I'm out.